The cognitive offset method is the easiest way to make work fun. Think about two people who do the exact same task. One person is stressed, they're drained, they feel overwhelmed, and they're just procrastinating. And the other version is calm, focused, and actually enjoys the work. Now, what is the difference? The person who enjoys their work and makes their work fun is going to achieve more, feel better, get more success, and get closer to their goals. But the other person who struggles to do the work, who makes work super boring, they're just not going to be able to achieve their goals and get to where they want to be. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what differentiates both types of people. And I also remember the days when I used to procrastinate. I used to pick up my phone 1,000 times while I was working, and I just couldn't focus. I would spend 5 hours sitting at my desk only to do 1 hour of work. And that is where the biggest shift that I've seen is when I started to make work fun, all of those problems disappeared. And here's how. Part number one, why work feels heavy. So one thing we need to understand is that work feels heavy because we have identity fused with output. So basically when you have a bad work session, what happens is that you connect that to being a bad person. And that is what keeps on feeding the same identity loop. So the loop goes like this. Your identity feeds your corresponding thoughts, and the thoughts create actions, and then the actions provide evidence that refeed your identity. So part of making work more fun is to just make it lighter, because as soon as it's heavy, as soon as it feels like a burden, it is going to be impossible to make it fun. So a lot of the times you'll have a bad work session, and then you're going to connect that to a negative identity. And then the next time you go sit and work, you feel bad because last time was bad. So then you just repeat the cycle over and over again. You are too involved emotionally and not involved enough mechanically, meaning that you overthink and analyze more than you actually take action. So the number one step is to take out a journal and just write your thoughts down. Create clarity, allow clarity to come into your life. So your overthinking reduces, your overanalysis just goes down, and you can start to see things clearly. Because as soon as you can see your work clearly, you can identify with the outcomes, you know why you're doing that work and the purpose that it serves. That is one step of clarity that is going to eliminate procrastination and then lead you to actually start loving the work. You see, right now your dopamine is probably tied to bad habits, to pleasure, to instant gratification, but we want to make the shift to rewire our dopamine to be connected so that we get dopamine from effort, from deep work, from running, from going on, talking to people, challenging yourself physically and mentally and emotionally, journaling, reading, and all of the real dopamine things. Later in the video, I'm going to tell you about the cognitive offset method. But first, dopamine is the key. It is the foundation before we can understand the rest. You see, dopamine is the reason why you pursue what you pursue. It is what gets you up in the morning, looking forward to tackling the day and doing what you have to do. So making this dopamine shift and starting to change the way you see pleasure and things that are fun, and starting to make the shift from fake dopamine, which is scrolling, video games, entertainment, watching movies, binging TV shows, going to a place where you just chase real dopamine. The more you do something, the more you are going to want to do more of the same thing. And this goes back to the identity loop that we talked about. So in our community, Discipline OS, we have challenges every single week. And last week, a couple of members were saying that they were thinking the same things, like they're not focused enough to work, they don't have the discipline to get real work done, they always procrastinate, they always get distracted. And these thought cycles were just sabotaging them. And by the end of the week, we actually helped them shift from a place where they were just thinking limiting beliefs and limiting thoughts to a place where we turned those exact same thoughts into things that actually helped them make the work more enjoyable, more fun, and more manageable. And this just shows you how powerful the mind is. Limiting beliefs, old identity frames, your mental models, and everything that is behind the scenes that is just responsible for why you do what you do, in the ways that you spend your time, and the person that you are becoming. Dopamine rewiring, identity shifting, and focus mastery are the core pillars we dive into when we talk about discipline. And those are all things that go hand in hand. And once you learn to unlock the most important things, then the rest becomes easy. Now, part number two, what actually is cognitive offset? Cognitive offset is a separation between the task and the self. So this is going to be all about engagement without ego. Basically, instead of thinking this task is me, this is part of my identity, you need to be thinking, I am running this task. Me and this task are separate, but I am working on this task. I'm involving myself with it. Because the moment you make tasks connected to yourself, then as soon as one thing goes wrong, as soon as a task isn't what you expected, as soon as you're not focused 100%, then you're going to start focusing on your limitations. You're going to start thinking that your identity is the problem, when in reality, it is your systems that are the problem. And this goes hand in hand with detaching from the outcome. You can only make the work fun and enjoyable and manageable once you separate yourself from what you think the task is going to get you. I know this sounds like a paradox, but the moment you're just so involved with the process that the process itself becomes the reward, that's when everything changes. That's when you make the mindset shift and you're able to enjoy work right now. Because work is not the outcome. It is not the success you get after years of work. It is not the results that come. It is just the process of working. If you don't actually like what you do, if you don't like how it feels to sit down at your desk and get the work done, then it's going to be hard to make sustainable progress and do the work you need to do. So the idea is to learn to take things slow. Just take a step back and understand, why do I do what I do? What is my reason? What is my purpose? And from there, just look at everything. Look at the whole scope of your life and do this self-analysis where you sit with yourself with a journal and you just write down about yourself. You create clarity, you create more space and more intention with what you're doing. Because the moment you better understand what you're doing and the purpose of your work, not as just a means to an end, or not as just a means to reach a certain financial goal or a certain goal, but as the process, as the work itself. So I can connect this to making videos. I've been doing this for a while and I made so many bad videos, right? I made so many videos where I thought it was good. And then I looked at the result and I'm like, why didn't this perform? And then a couple of weeks later, I look back and I'm like, this wasn't good at all. This was pretty bad. And a failed attempt simply shows what doesn't work. It doesn't mean that you are a bad person. It doesn't mean that you can't perform. It means that just the videos are bad. So for me, I'm not going to connect a bad performing video with a bad identity. That's just going to make me feel bad. And it's going to make me not like the work the next time I'm there. So instead, I understand that I'm going to have some bad performers. I'm going to have some things that don't really go my way. And it's about keeping that as it is and without connecting it to myself, my self-worth, my value, my identity. And that's where you keep the work sustainable, you keep it fun, and you're able to go video after video and set after set and do the reps for the long term. And that's what matters. You see, whatever you do, you learn from your mistakes. You just keep getting better and keep getting better and better. And eventually, you find your way. So a really big tip, if you want to make work more fun, so that you can show up more consistently, then you have to do this. Mentally detach yourself with how hard the work is and attach yourself with how good it's going to feel once you're already there. Once you're already 30 minutes in, you're focused, you're in the flow state, think and connect yourself with how that's going to feel, as opposed to connecting yourself with the details like, yo, this is going to take me this much time to go and do the task. I have to open this. I have to set up my desk. I have to do this. What if this doesn't work? What if this doesn't work? Discard that, put it aside, and just focus on the good things. Just focus on the good aspects of the work that you're going to do. And that takes me to the most important part. Part number 3, why the offset changes everything. If you find work hard, the number one reason for that is because there's too much friction between you and actually starting. And the way to reduce friction is by making effort feel good, make effort feel rewarding. And this means once you do your work, make sure to do something afterwards that signals to your brain that we are being rewarded for effort. Cognitive offset makes it so that effort actually becomes neutral. And when effort is neutral, friction reduces and you're able to start with more ease. And if you can start easily, meaning you can continue and get into the flow state more predictably. Because think about how good the flow state actually feels once you're in it. And that is what we have to focus on. And once you master this one concept, then work starts to feel playful. It starts to feel easy and smooth going. And you're going to make it more and more predictable to actually show up for your deep work sessions. And that's what we want. We want to slowly build the habit of knowing that you can show up every day. It doesn't matter if you don't feel like it. It doesn't matter if you have a lot of other things to do. You still show up and do your deep work and make the work fun. An important question to ask yourself is, can you make progress even on bad days? Another benefit of cognitive offset and making the work fun is reduced burnout over time. The moment that work stops feeling like a punishment and something that you're dreading and you can't wait to finish work, the moment you can start tapping into deeper levels of creativity, of passion, of excitement, of gratitude. And over the long term, that is what is going to reduce burnout and make you keep going without feeling overwhelmed and drained and confused. And you can just keep going, be sustainable, and be consistent. And another thing is fun plus speed to execution. You see, you need to discover how fun it actually is to get things done quickly. These successful people at the top, they don't overthink, they don't overanalyze. They just do the work. They look at what they have to do. They identify where they want to go, their goals for the next 6 months to 1 year. And then they identify every single little thing that they have to do to get there. They write it down, and then they start from one and they start crossing off. And within a week, they're probably already finished. And that is what differentiates successful people who are at the top versus the rest of the world. So I started actually taking pride in how I feel when I get things done quickly, when I don't procrastinate. And it's become part of my identity. I see myself as the person who is a fast executor, who does things quickly, who finishes things and just handles the tasks with ease. If I know what I have to do, I just go and do it and I don't think twice. And I just tackle the tasks as fast as possible, as well as possible. And that is my identity. And the moment you make that your identity is the moment that you can win. So if you want to set the proper intentions for 2026, then I made a video just about that, so you don't repeat the same life over and over again. Watch it over here, and I'll see you in the next one. You got this.